Hello everyone, myself Dr. Praveen Kumar Vats, working as Associate Professor in Pandit Chanjilal Sharma Government College, Karnal. Dear students, today we will study one of the most beautiful and important class of phylum Chordata. No doubt, this class is aves. The class aves include all modern birds. The birds are unique among the vertebrates, having a coat of feathers. The study of birds is called ornithology, and a person working on birds is known as ornithologist. Birds are often described as the glorified reptiles because they retain many features of the reptiles, their ancestors, along with their advanced and magnificent characters. So let's start today's topic on pigeon or Columba livia. Pigeon is a nice representative of class Aves. Pigeon is a diurnal and gregarious bird. It is found in most part of the Europe and Asia. It commonly feeds on grain, seeds and young green shoot. Pigeon is a monogamous bird, means one male live in a company of a single female. Let's discuss the systematic position of pigeon. Pigeon belongs to phylum Chordata, class Aves, subclass Neorynthus. There are two subclass in class Aves. One is Neorynthus, in which we have flightless and flying birds, and another is Archaeorynthus, in which we have primitive extinct bird like Archaeopteryx. Superorder Neognathi. It's belong to order Columbiformis, genus Columba, and species Livia. If we see the external character of the pigeon, body of pigeon is spindle shaped and streamlined to offer minimum resistance to wind during flight. You can easily identify this bird by two dark bars on the wing and a band across the end of a tail. Body is covered with feather all over except the feet. Body of pigeon is divided into four regions: head region, neck region, trunk region, and a small conical tail region. The head is small and rounded. It bears in front a strong, hard, and pointed beak. Actually, beak is consist of upper and lower jaws covered with a horny sheath called rhampotheca. Rhampotheca forms exoskeleton of the pigeon. On the base of the upper beak, on each side, there is a white patch of naked, soft, and swollen skin. This patch of skin is called cirri and it surrounds the external nostrils. Some ornithologists believe that this cirri may act as receptor organ of the pigeon. Close to the cirri, there is a pair of oblique slits called external nares or nostrils. Actually, these nostrils are the starting point of the respiratory tract of the pigeon. The trunk is the third part of the body and it is boat shaped. It has a prominent mid-ventral ridge called keel or carina. This pointed carina is flight adaptation and it is found mostly in all flying birds. On either side of the head, large eyes are present and these are guarded by upper and lower eyelids, and third eyelid or nictitating membrane is also present in pigeon. A pair of ear openings are situated at a short distance behind the eyes covered with auricular feathers. These ear openings leads into the external auditory meatus. External auditory meatus and ear openings form the part of the external ear of the pigeon. Second part of the body is neck, which is long and mobile. It is almost vertical and more wide towards the trunk region. It helps in the movement of the head in various directions. Two pair of limbs are present in pigeon. The forelimb get modified into wings and are located in the anterior region of the trunk. The forelimb consists of three parts: upper arm, also called brachium, forearm, also called antebrachium, and manus, also known as hand. The hand has three imperfectly marked digits. The second digit is much longer than first and third digit. A fold of skin called alar membrane or prepatagium stretches between the upper and forearm on the preaxial side or front side. A smaller fold known as postpatagium joins the proximal part of upper arm with the trunk on the hind or postaxial side. The hind limbs are located at the posterior end of the trunk. They are almost vertical to balance the entire weight of the body. Each hind limb consists of three parts: thigh, shank, and foot. This foot is also known as pes. Each hind limb has four digits. The first toe or hallux is directed backward while other three toes are directed forward. The feet are naked and covered with horny epidermal scales. Each digit is provided with a horny claws. Claws are absent in fingers. The tail is the last part of the pigeon body. It is very short and stumpy. It is also called Europygium. Tail is covered by feathers and it is visible only in the plucked bird. It bears the quill feathers which are called rectrices. The cloacal aperture is present on the ventral side of the trunk region. Above the tail there is a knob which have a opening of oil gland or preen gland or uropygial gland. Preen gland or uropygial gland release a fluid used for the preening of the feather. Now let's start the exoskeleton of the pigeon. The exoskeleton structure of the pigeon consists of feather, scales which are present on the hind limbs, claws which are present on the fingers, and rhampotheca which is present on the upper beak. All these structures are derived from epidermis and so all these are epidermal in origin. Feather. These are arranged on the skin in definite track on the body of the pigeon. These definite tracks are known as sterili. There are certain areas on the body where feathers are absent. These areas are known as apteria or featherless tract. The arrangement of feathers on the body is called pterylosis. There are many types of the feathers in pigeon like quill feathers, covert feathers, contour feathers, down feathers, etc. All these feathers are almost similar in structure except some minor differences. Let's start first with the quill feathers. Quill feathers are present on the wings as well as on the tail. When they are present on the wings, they are known as remises, and while they are present on the tail, they are known as rectrices. Each quill feather has a central axis called shaft or stem or scapus. This shaft, stem or scapus is divided into lower, hollow, translucent part which is called quill or calamus. Long distal part of the stem is solid and is called rachis. The quill or calamus has at its lower end an opening which is known as inferior umbilicus. Through this opening, feather get nourishment from the skin. Another opening called superior umbilicus occur at the junction of the quill and rachis on the ventral side of the feather. The rachis bears on either side a thin membrane called vein or vexillum. The vein itself consists of number of parallel filaments which start from the rachis and goes obliquely towards the tip. Each barb on either side bears barbules. The distal barbules of each barb bears minute hooklets or barbicles or hemuli and fits into the groove or phalanges of the proximal barbules on the next adjacent barbs. Such type of the arrangement does not leave any gap in the vein or vexillum and air cannot cross through them. Close to the superior umbilicus, there is a small tuft of soft feathers called aftershaft. This aftershaft have barbs, but barbules are not attached with hooklets or phalanges. Each feather has its own basal muscle in the skin. This is the structure of the quill feather. In this PPT, we can easily see that the lower part, hollow part is known as calamus and upper solid part is known as rachis. On the either side of the rachis, there is a expanded membrane. That expanded membrane is known as vein or vexillum, which is consist of number of barbs. This slide again show the arrangement of the quill feather on the wings. As far as the number of the quill feathers on the wing is considered, there are 23 wing quill or remises present on the wing. Out of these 23 quill feathers, 12 are attached to the postaxial or ulnar side of the forearm, and these are called secondaries or cubital feathers. 11 feathers are attached to the hand, and these are called primaries. Out of the 11 primaries, 6 are present in the palm, and these are called metacarpals. Remaining 5 primaries are present on the second and third digit of the hand and are known as digital. The digital are further differentiated into single addigital, which is attached to the single phalanx of the third digit, two mid-digital borne on the proximal phalanx of the second digit, and true pre-digital arising from its distal phalanx. The upper arm lack remises. When they are present, they are known as tertiaries. Tertiary feathers are absent in pigeon. Now we go through the rectrices. The quill feathers occurring around the tail of the pigeon are called tail quills or rectrices. In pigeon, 12 long rectrices are arranged in a semi-circular manner. The rectrices act as a brake and they help in the movement of the pigeon in different direction. This PPT show the arrangement of the remises or rectrices on the tail and forewing. Next category of feather is coverts. The coverts are small feathers which are found in the wings and the tail. Actually, these feathers fill the gap between the bases of the quill feathers. These are like quill feathers but are smaller in size and have short calamus. Next category is counter feathers. The counter feathers are small feathers that cover the body. They resemble the quill feathers, but their barbs are not strongly joined. Another category is phyloplumes. Phyloplumes are present under the counter feathers. Each phyloplume consists of a long calamus bearing the tip a few weak barbs with barbules. These are seen only in the plucked bird. Down feather. Down feathers are present in the newly hatched bird. These are also called nestling feathers. These also have a short calamus. Rachis is thin and reduced, bearing long barbs with short barbules. The first digit of the hand, that is the thumb or pollex, bear a tuft of small feathers. This is called the bastard wing or elaspuria or false wing. Now we go through the body wall of the pigeon. Body wall of pigeon consists of skin, muscles and peritoneum. The skin of pigeon is thin and dry because gland cells are absent in the skin of the pigeon. It is firmly attached to the underlying muscles. The superficial layer of the epidermis consists of a flat cornified cells to form a very important layer. That layer is known as stratum corneum. This stratum corneum forms number of exoskeletons like Rhampotheca, claws, etc. Cornucoids resemble the reptilian scales in structure as well as in origin. Dermis is the layer which is present below the epidermis and is mostly consist of muscular fibrous tissue. These muscular fibrous tissue are being used to raise and lower the feathers. Dermis also contain blood vessels and other fibers. Pigment is confined to the feather and scales. There are no glands in the skin except a uropygial gland situated on the dorsal side at the base of the uropygium. Due to the lack of sweat glands, the birds cool themselves in a hot weather by panting like the dog. This is the VS of body wall of pigeon. Here you can see stratum corneum on the upper side. Below stratum corneum there is dermis which have number of blood vessels and muscles. The muscular system of birds is efficient and well developed. The diaphragm of pigeon is poorly developed and rudimentary. The muscles of the back are also weak due to the inactivity or immobility of the trunk vertebrae. However, the muscular system of neck, wing, tail, legs and ventral side of the body is well developed. What are appendicular muscles? Now we will study these appendicular muscles. The muscles which provide movement to forelimbs, wings and hind limbs are called appendicular muscles. Both type of the appendicular muscles, that is flight muscles and perching muscles, are well developed in pigeon and we will study them separately. First of all, we will discuss flight muscles. The muscles which operate the forelimbs during flight are called flight muscles. These includes pectoral muscles, accessory muscles and tensor muscles. Pectoral muscles are the most significant flight muscles of the birds. These muscles remain attached to the keel of the sternum and to the wings and provide up and down movements of the wing. There are two categories of the pectoral muscles. First one is pectoralis major. This muscle weight about 1/5 of the total weight of the pigeon body. It is dark red in color due to rich supply of blood. In front, each muscle is attached to the keel of the sternum and the clavicle. Anteriorly, its fibers join the ventral side of the head of humerus by a broad and flat tendon. When the pectoralis major muscle contracts, the wing is pulled downwards and forwards. It causes the downstroke of the wing, so also called depressor muscle. Pectoralis minor is a small and elongated muscle which elevates the wing during flight. It lies deep to the pectoralis major. It arises from the anterior part of the sternum dorsal to pectoralis major. Its tendons passes through the foramen trioceum, a aperture occurring in between the junction of the clavicle, scapula and coracoid. This tendon is inserted on the dorsal side of the humerus. Pectoralis minor is an elevator muscle and it causes the upstroke of the wing. When it contracts, the foramen trioceum acts like a pulley for its tendon, pulling the humerus backward and upward, so it raises the wing during flight. Beside pectoral muscles, the accessory muscles also help the bird during flight. This PPT shows the arrangement of the flight muscles. You can easily find here two major muscles. One is pectoralis major, which start from the keel of the sternum and inserted on the ventral side of the humerus, and another one is pectoralis minor, which is present deep to the pectoralis major, and it also starts from the anterior part of the sternum and inserted on the dorsal side of the humerus through tendons. Now we will study muscles of hind limbs. Certain muscles in leg and their tendons have a special arrangement so that when a bird sits on a perch, its toes are mechanically flexed and grab the perch without any efforts. Such muscles are called perching muscles, and the arrangement of perching muscles in the leg is called perching mechanism. The perching muscles of the pigeon includes following two sets. One are flexor muscles and second are extensor muscles. What are flexor muscles? These muscles occur on the back of the tibiotarsus bone of the hind limbs. These are 8 in number. All of them remain inserted up on the knee joint. These flexor muscles perform the perching mechanism. 6 of them pass their tendon to the phalanges of the anterior toes, and remaining 2 flexor muscles pass their tendons to the hind toe or hallux. The toes are unlocked by raising of the body and also by the extensor muscles. In pigeon, several extensor muscles are found at the front of the tibiotarsus. The tendon of the tibialis anterior muscles pass down in front of the internal tarsal joint and then divide into 3 branches to supply one branch to each anterior toe. These tendons of flexor muscles are attached to the upper surface of the phalanges. The contraction of the tendon of extensor muscles serve to open the toes when the bird raises its shank while taking off the perch. This PPT again shows the various muscles of the hind limbs which help in perching. Now we will study digestive system of pigeon. Digestive system of pigeon is well developed and it consists of 2 parts. One is alimentary canal and one is digestive glands. Digestive system is concerned with the digestion or breakdown of food into smaller and smaller components until they can be absorbed and assimilated into the body of the pigeon. Digestive system consists of 2 parts as we have already studied. One is alimentary canal and one is digestive gland. Alimentary canal is a muscular tube which extends from the mouth to anus. The alimentary canal of pigeon consists of mouth, buccopharyngeal cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine and large intestine. Mouth is extended along the entire length of the beak and it leads into buccopharyngeal cavity. Buccopharyngeal cavity is a narrow space bounded dorsally by skull and ventrally by throat. In case of pigeon, the hard palate is incomplete, having middle gap called palatal cleft. The anterior part of the buccopharyngeal cavity is called buccal cavity. It contains tongue, internal nares and salivary glands, but teeth are absent in all modern birds. Internal nares are slit-like aperture and these are present on the roof of the buccal cavity. Salivary glands include median sublingual glands and paired angle glands. These glands release saliva, but dear students, this saliva is enzyme free. Pharynx is the posterior part of the buccopharyngeal cavity. Just behind the tongue, floor of the pharynx has a median oval aperture called glottis. Roof of the pharynx have another pair of aperture. These aperture are the opening of the eustachian or pharyngotympanic tubes. The pharynx leads into the esophagus. Esophagus is a long and narrow tube which runs dorsally to trachea through the neck and join the stomach in thorax. Esophagus get dilated in front of sternum to form a large thin-walled bilobed sac called croup or ingluvius. The croup help the pigeon to pick up and store quickly a large amount of food. It can store up to 500 ciliar grains. Croup is a small or absent in insectivorous and carnivorous bird. Two patches of special tissue called croup glands in both sexes secrete a milky fluid during breeding season. This fluid is known as pigeon milk. This pigeon milk is more nutritive than mammalian milk and can double the hatching weight of the young ones in 2 days only. Next part of the alimentary canal is stomach. The stomach of pigeon is differentiated into two regions. Anterior region of stomach is called proventriculus. Proventriculus is slightly wider than the esophagus and it has more number of gastric glands in its mucous membrane. Some digestion takes place in proventriculus. Posterior region of the stomach is known as gizzard. The gizzard is a large biconvex structure. Its walls are very thick and lumen of gizzard is narrow. This lumen or cavity is lined by cuticular cells. The gizzard also have small stones in the cavity which are taken by pigeon from outside. This help in the grinding of the hard cereal grains or hard food particles. Gizzard lead into small intestine. At the junction of the gizzard and small intestine, pyloric valves are present. Dear student, next part of alimentary canal is small intestine. Small intestine is 75 centimeter long tube divided into anterior duodenum and posterior ileum. Duodenum is U-shaped tube consists of proximal descending limb and ascending distal limb, two bile duct from liver and three pancreatic duct from pancreas open into duodenum. Ileum is the longest part of the alimentary canal. The lining of the small intestine is thrown into small villi and its mucosa have simple or branched crypt of Lieberkühn. These crypts release intestinal juice in both part of the small intestine. Dear students, small intestine leads into large intestine. Large intestine is also called rectum and it is 4 cm in length in case of pigeon. At the beginning of the rectum, there are a pair of small lateral and blind pouches. These blind pouches are called colixica. These colixica help in the absorption of water from undigested food and makes it semi-solid. Rectum opens into the cloaca by an aperture called anus. Cloaca is a prominent chamber having three parts. Anterior large part is called coprodium, which receive rectum. Middle short part is urodium, in which ureter and genital ducts open, and last posterior part is known as proctodium, which opens on the ventral side of the trunk by cloacal aperture. Proctodium in its dorsal wall have a special lymphoid tissue called bursa fabricus. It probably serves to fight infection in the cloaca. It degenerates in adult, so it is called cloacal thymus. Now we will discuss second part of the digestive system. This part is digestive glands. Dear students, as explained earlier, gastric glands are present in the mucosa of proventriculus. Intestinal glands are present in the small intestine. Liver is a large dark gland organ situated behind the heart. It consists of two lobes, a large right lobe and small left lobe, each having its own bile duct. Gallbladder is absent in pigeon. Liver release bile and pour it into duodenum. Pancreas is another digestive gland which is present in the loop of intestine, and three pancreatic duct also open into the duodenum. Pancreas release pancreatic juice which have many digestive enzymes. Digestion start in the proventriculus by gastric juices and completed in the small intestine by bile, pancreatic juice and intestinal juice. Absorption of the digested food takes place through small intestine. Dear student, this is all about the digestive system of the pigeon. Now we will discuss another important system. This is respiratory system of pigeon. The avian respiratory system is different from that of the other vertebrates. Dear students, pigeons have relatively small lungs, but additionally 9 air sacs are present in pigeon which play an important role in respiration. We will discuss respiratory system in two heading. One is respiratory tract and another one is respiratory organ. Respiratory tract start from the external nostrils situated at the base of the upper beak. These nostrils leads into olfactory chamber which open into the roof of the buccal cavity by internal nostrils. Next part of the respiratory tract is glottis which is present in the floor of the pharynx. Glottis leads into a small chamber called larynx which is not sound box of the pigeon. So larynx is not walled well, but it is supported by same cartilage, that is a pair of arytenoid cartilage and single C-shaped cricoid cartilage. The larynx is followed by trachea which extend down the neck ventral to esophagus. The wall of trachea is supported throughout its length by complete bony rings. In thorax, trachea bifurcates into two narrow tubes called primary bronchi. Each primary bronchus is supported by cartilaginous ring except first one which is bony in nature. At the junction of the trachea and primary bronchus, there is a slight expansion which is called syrinx, that is sound box of the pigeon. Dear students, last 3 or 4 ring of the trachea and first bony ring of each bronchus take part in the formation of the syrinx. Cavity of the syrinx is called tympanum. Further, the mucous membrane of the median wall of each bronchus form the internal tympaniform membrane. Anteriorly, this internal tympaniform membrane forms a fold called membrana semilunaris and it is supported by cartilage called passule. Sound is produced by the vibration of this membrane. The syringeal musculature includes a pair of intrinsic syringeal muscles, a pair of sternotracheal muscle. The position of syrinx can be changed by the action of these muscles. This PPT shows the respiratory organ of the pigeon as well as 9 air sac. Here you can see that trachea is divided into 2 tubes. These tubes are known as primary bronchus and each primary bronchus enter into the lung of its side. Again, this diagram shows the respiratory organ as well as 9 air sac. On the right side, you can see the sound box of the pigeon. This sound box or syrinx is formed by the lower part of the trachea and upper part of the primary bronchus. Internally, it have a membrane. That membrane is known as internal tympaniform membrane and it is supported by a piece of cartilage that is known as passule. Respiratory organ of the pigeon are lungs. The lungs are small in size in comparison with that of the body. They are paired pink colored organ. The lungs are spongy organ with little elasticity. The dorsal surface of the lung is fitted closely with the interspaces of the ribs and lack the peritoneal covering on the dorsal side. The ventral wall has a compact fibrous tissue sheet called pleura or pulmonary aponeurosis. The alveolar lining is formed by the ramification of tertiary tubules with the distribution of the blood vessel. Lungs have complex system of respiratory tubes or bronchi. The trachea bifurcate into right and left bronchi. The left and right bronchi are called primary bronchi or mesobronchi. These bronchi run up to the end of the lungs. Within the lung are the mesobronchus send a pair of branches called secondary bronchi or lateral bronchi, and each secondary bronchus break up into a network of tertiary or parabronchi and send a number of branches to the air sac. Associated with the lungs, there are air sacs which are formed by the expansion of the mucous membrane of the secondary bronchi. The air sacs are thin-walled membranous sac and these are devoid of blood vessels. There are 9 air sacs which are present in the body of pigeon. All of them remain in communication with the pneumatic cavities of the bone. Out of the 9 air sacs, 4 are paired and 1 air sac is unpaired. Paired air sac include abdominal air sac, posterior thoracic air sac, anterior thoracic air sac, and cervical air sac, whereas unpaired air sac is interclavicular or median air sac, which is connected with the both lung. There are also some accessory air sacs. These air sacs originate as a paired diverticula from the interclavicular air sac. These paired sacs are clavicular air sac, which ends into the armpits, and humeral air sac, which ends into the humerus. According to their role, these air sacs are divided into 2 categories. First one is inspiratory air sac, those air sacs which help in the intake of the fresh air. These includes abdominal air sac. These are also called the posterior air sac and lies among the coil of the intestine. These are the posteriormost and largest air sac in pigeon. Second category is posterior thoracic air sac. These paired air sacs are placed on the posterior side of the thoracic cavity. Third, inspiratory air sacs are anterior thoracic air sacs. These paired air sacs are located one on each side of the thoracic cavity towards the anterior part between the lungs and the ribs. Expiratory air sacs. This include 2 air sacs. One is cervical air sacs. These paired air sacs are placed near the base of the neck and lies in front of the lungs. Another one is interclavicular air sac. This is unpaired and median air sac of large size. It has 2 ducts, two duct open into each lung. Each side of this air sac give 2 extension. One is clavicular air sac and second one is humeral air sac. These air sacs are communicated with the cavity of the bones. In addition to the secondary bronchi, all the air sac except the cervical have recurrent bronchi that arise from their proximal end and passes into the lungs to join the secondary bronchi. Now we will discuss what is the role of air sac in pigeon. The air sac play an important role in the life of the all flying birds. The air sacs are not provided with capillary network, so these are not directly respiratory in function. But these air sacs are the essential component of the bird body. They increase the efficiency of lungs by providing them fresh air during expiration. They cool the body of the pigeon by evaporation. So, dear students, with this we are going to complete our lecture for today. There are some important questions which are oftenly asked in exam. These questions are: describe the body wall of the pigeon. This is very important question. We have already studied the body wall of pigeon. What is the function of air sac in birds? As we have already studied the role of air sac in birds. Third question is: describe the flight muscles of the pigeon. This is very important question. Another question is: describe the digestive system of the pigeon. Another question: respiratory system of the pigeon. There are some short type question like: what are quill feathers? What is carina? What is pigeon milk? Describe the sound box of the pigeon, and what is passule? So, thank you all of you